The Chargers are in soft zone coverage. He scoots down the middle and gets 21 yards on a 3rd and 20. And so when we talk about the athletic quarterback and kind of like the emergence of the athletic quarterback, it's not necessarily the guys that are toting it all the time, but the guys who have the potential to get out of trouble. Pat Mahomes is using his athleticism and his running skills to get out of trouble and to really have answers when some of the other questions pop up based on how the teams are covering them.
He did it. He did it last year in Mexico City in their game against the Chargers. In this game, 3rd and 7, he had a 15-yard run. 3rd and 5 had a 10-yard run. You mentioned 3rd and 20 for 21 yards. 3rd and 3 had a 4-yard run. Those are all conversions using his legs, and that's what makes that group so difficult to defend. And I'm always impressed with Mahomes that on those 3rd downs, when everything can kind of speed up for some guys, it just all slows down for him. And he's willing to say, okay, there's the free yards. I'm going to go ahead and take them, and let's just extend the drive. Now, when it comes to Herbert, it was weird calling this game with money. We're up there in the booth, and all of a sudden they break the huddle, and we're going, wait a second, Herbert's in there. And my first thought was, okay, they've got Herbert and Tyrod out there. They're going to run a trick play to start the game. And then I look out there, I'm like, wait a second, Tyrod's not out there. This is Herbert. So we did not know about the chest injury at that time or the breathing issues that Tyrod might have been having. So we were flying blind, and we were like, okay, well, here we go. And it was off and running. We come to find out after the game, that's basically when Herbert found out he was going to start. It was right before the game started, and then he's out there, and he's going and takes the team right down the field on that first drive. I thought poise for me, Buck, when you looked at Herbert, he opened up the wrong way sometimes on some play-action fakes. There's one play where he sends a guy in motion, then opens his wristband to look at the play call to make sure he knows what he's doing, then shuts his wristband. I mean, all this stuff flying around, but then once the ball was snapped, outside of one goofy throw where he tried to make a hero throw on the move, I thought he handled himself very well in that environment.
Hey, Buck, one second before you dig in there, because DJ mentioned poise from the rookie quarterback. I got to say that, you, DJ, and Money, you want to talk about poise, to be surprised at a new starting quarterback as it was happening. In fact, Ryan Bartlett, I think we have that for the folks. I mean, you described it, but let's actually hear it. Can you play that call for us?
And how about this? Justin Herbert is out to take the first snap in a pistol formation, fakes the handoff. Actually, no, he does, in fact, hand it off to Austin Eckler, who pushes past the 25 all the way up near the 30. That's going to be a gain of 9.
He's staying out there.
Justin Herbert starting this game. No inclination that was going to be the case at all. We talked to Tom Telesco. We talked to Anthony Lynn. And what a secret as Justin Herbert makes his NFL debut with a handoff to Austin Eckler that goes for 9. Now under center, the number 6 overall pick.
We had no idea, Rhett. We had no idea what was going on. I mean, it was totally fly by the seat of your pants at that point in time, man. You could hear it right there.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a remarkable recovery for you and Money to be able to kind of make that right. I'll say this about Justin Herbert. DJ, I felt like what I saw was an extension of the way that Justin Herbert ended his college career at Oregon. In terms of the poise, the leadership, the moxie, the playmaking ability, utilizing his legs. We saw that in the Pac-12 championship game. We saw that in the Rose Bowl. The guy that I saw in the stadium for the Chargers was that same guy. I think that's something you should be very, very encouraged by if you're the Chargers staff.
Yeah, I think you got to be happy for Tom Telesco. We'll see what happens if they go back to Tyrod Taylor for a few weeks or not, but I know it's not too big for Justin Herbert. That's the hurdle he needed to clear in order to get out on the football field. All right, Buck, what's your next takeaway?
The Titans are more than Derrick Henry.
Tannehill looking to throw. Plenty of time. Wide open. Jonnu Smith into Jacksonville territory. Winger trying to chase him down, and he does. But a big play for Tennessee.
So here's the thing. You talk about the NFL rushing leader, Derrick Henry. We talked about the Tennessee Titans and their identity, and it was all about Derrick Henry. The last 4 times that he played against the Jaguars, he was averaging 125 yards. So the Jaguars came in to take him away. But, man, lo and behold, Ryan Tannehill carved them up. 4 touchdown passes, did a great job of throwing off-play action, utilized all of his playmakers that was available. And the trick was they didn't have A.J. Brown. So Jonnu Smith getting 84 yards. Corey Davis having 36 yards and a touchdown on a play-action pass. Ryan Tannehill settling in as a legitimate QB1 for the Tennessee Titans has given this offense balance. They are a team that is very, very difficult to defend because they play smash mouth, but their quarterback is so efficient throwing off play action.
Yeah, no question. And look, you mentioned A.J. Brown is down. That was your best receiver last year. And I feel like Jonnu Smith has been smoldering as a potential breakout player, as a real playmaker for this offense. In this season so far, I think we've certainly seen that. Week 2, he gets the 2 touchdowns here. He was the entire offense on that first touchdown drive, ending up in the end zone. I think he's become a real weapon. So now you're also starting to see Corey Davis make some of that improvement, see why the Titans made him the first receiver taken back there in 2016, a number 5 overall pick. So I think you're starting to see a lot of those weapons, to your point there, Bucky, start to come together to where they don't just have to rely on 25, 30 carries from Derrick Henry. But I'm really impressed with the way Jonnu Smith has come to play. DJ, I'd like to see a little bit better from that Titans defense, not giving up 30-plus to the Jaguars. But, guys, quickly, this AFC South is becoming a division to be reckoned with. This is going to be some fun from top to bottom in a division that we thought maybe, the Texans might run away with this thing once again, the Colts might challenge. The Jaguars aren't yet dead in this thing either. I mean, they're 1-1 coming into this week 3 here, and they've played pretty well in these first 2 weeks.
I don't know if there's a great team in this division, but fun is the word. It's fun to watch these teams, the way they play in that division. It's going to be interesting to see how that race comes down. My last thought, we'll kind of wrap this one, this takeaway on this thought right here. If I'm Sam Darnold's friend, if I'm Sam Darnold's best friend, I am sending him highlight clips of Ryan Tannehill each and every week and letting him know it's not over, better days are ahead. I'll leave that one right there.
All right, we're keeping the takeaways rolling here with takeaway number 5. Guys, I've got this one. The Packers offense packs a punch.
Single receiver left, Lazard. Give is to Jones up the middle. Breaking free. He's off to the races. Yes, it's going to be Secretary at the Belmont. No one will catch him to the end zone. Touchdown, Aaron Jones, 75 yards.
Guys, that run right there by Aaron Jones, the longest by a Packer since Amon Green back in 2004. The Packers, guys, have now scored 40 points in each of these first 2 weeks. To say that they are clicking now in year 2 with Matt LaFleur's offense is an understatement. Just a couple of notes of context here on the offensive output thus far by the Packers. They're just the 8th team in the Super Bowl era to score 40-plus points in each of their first 2 games of the season. The last 2 teams to do that, by the way, went to the Super Bowl. 2013 Broncos, 09 Saints. This is also the 3rd time in the Super Bowl era that the Packers have scored 40 points in back-to-back games. Each of the previous 2 seasons, Aaron Rodgers went on to win the NFL MVP, which he is certainly in the running for 2 games in thus far. They are on fire right now, and Aaron, DJ, has said that the difference with the offense this year are the backs, and it's hard to deny after the performance that Aaron Jones put up, 236 scrimmage yards. Jamal Williams even provides some real value for that team with some versatility, but the running backs on this team are making this offense go. By the way, Devontae Adams, hamstring injury. They didn't even really need him in this game. They were that good in the run game and using the running backs in the pass game as well.
Go ahead, Buck.
You know what I love about what the Packers are doing. There was so much conversation about the Packers didn't get Aaron Rodgers more weapons, and I think what they knew is they really liked the group that they had. You talk about the running backs, Aaron Jones having a ridiculous game as an all-purpose threat out of the backfield, and then the young receivers spreading the wealth. The thing that we're talking about with Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers having a big game, but he didn't even put up big numbers. The balance of this offense, I believe, is really what Matt LaFleur, what his long-term vision was. Take some of the pressure off Aaron Rodgers by incorporating other people and not having to have Aaron throw for 400 yards every game. It's working, and the Packers are very, very dangerous on offense.
One thing I would just say, let me just offer some free advice. When I have some free time, I like to go shoot some hoops. Got a little hoop and get out there and do a little of that. I get a jog in. You've got go get on the bike. Jordan Love, I'm here for you, bud. Whatever you need, hobby-wise, anything you want to do, I can help you. You know, you got a little downtime here for probably the next couple years. So just let me know if I can help you with any of that.
And it's not just Jordan Love, by the way. A.J. Dillon, their second-round pick, has played like 12 snaps the first 2 games. Josiah DeGara has played 24 snaps, and he didn't play in week 2. So, they're getting 0 contributions from their first 3 draft picks this year, and they're still running away with this thing in the NFC North right now.
Don't need them. Don't need them. Not a big deal.
That's great.
All right, let's get to my next takeaway here, and that was the Sunday night game, which was a lot of fun. Russell and Cam living up to the hype.
Cam takes the snap. He'll keep it. Running left side. Dives, and he's tripped up shy of the goal line. It's over. The Seahawks will hang on and win. Newton kept it on a quarterback sweep to the left. He went airborne, went down shy of the goal line, and the Seattle Seahawks survive.
Buck, a couple things for me in this one. Number one is we talk about the Patriots and their offense under Tom Brady morphing from week to week. And we wondered, okay, well, what would this offense look like with Cam Newton? Going to be very one-dimensional? It's going to be one style? No. We saw them morph and show their ability to throw the football. We saw them attack in coverage, which, by the way, I'm giving you grief on this for your Jamal Adams Defensive Player of the Year tweet. Because when I went back and watched that tape, they went at him mercilessly in the passing game, Buck. I mean, he was impactful when he's in the line of scrimmage and he's playing forward. He got torched by Edelman in the passing game. But I thought the Patriots showed you some versatility. Not only is Cam going to be able to run, they showed you what that passing game was all about. So I'll allow you to defend yourself on the Jamal Adams tweet, and then I'll allow you to talk about them being versatile offensively.
Okay, because style makes fights. And so because you come from the school of Baltimore where you're used to seeing Ed Reed, I'm coming from a Pittsburgh place where Troy Polamalu couldn't cover anybody. Jamal Adams is Pete Carroll's. Jamal Adams is Pete Carroll's version of Troy Polamalu. When you look at the Seahawks, they want to put him in the box, and they're basically using him as their designated pass rusher. And so what is going to happen when we tally it up at the end of the year? He's going to have about 7 or 8 sacks. He's going to have some splash plays. And because this defense is going to play at a higher level, that's why he gets. And I think the bigger thing, like flipping it over, I'm really impressed with what the Seahawks are doing with the wide receivers. I have never seen the Seahawks go in attack mode, particularly against Stephon Gilmore. DK Metcalf had his way with Stephon Gilmore. And I saw your tweet where you talked about him being a first-round pick. Look, it was hard to make him a first-round pick when he ran 2 routes. But what they've done with him in Seattle, he runs those routes better than anybody. He is a specimen. He is someone to be feared as a vertical playmaker.
Well, guys, I think on the Aftermath here, which airs at 3 o'clock Eastern time on NFL Network, we're going to get into the interesting symmetry in this game between these two teams with the script flipped a little bit and the Seahawks defense needing a big stop on the 1-yard line there as the Patriots were going in for what would have been a game-winning touchdown. And, Mike Silver was at that game, talked to Bobby Wagner. Bobby said, I told the team in the huddle before that play where the ball was going, and we're all going that way. Well, there was one guy who particularly listened to that message, and that was the third-year safety, Delano Hills. Quandre Diggs got disqualified early in the game. Guy had snaps, his defensive snaps doubled from week 1 to week 2, so pressed into duty, and he comes firing off the edge, submarines Jakob Johnson, the fullback, gets the early penetration, forces Cam Newton to slow down, and allows L.J. Collier to come in there and clean things. Talk about moments. There he is, right there. That was a huge play by Delano Hill and then also by L.J. Collier to clean that thing up and that Seahawks defense to stand tall.
Well, you mentioned that, and you evoke the memories, I should say, of that interception by Malcolm Butler, interception that gave Tom Brady another Super Bowl win, which, Buck, leads me beautifully to our next transition. Tom Brady's new team. What was your takeaway from watching the Bucs?
Leonard Fournette showed up.
Fournette slashes his way to the 40, to the 35, to the 30, to the 30, 25, to the 20. Fournette to the 10, 5, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Run the ball, Leonard Fournette. Wow, what a blast up the gut, found daylight, and outran everybody.
DJ, so here's the thing about Fournette and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers played a rotation at running back. Ronald Jones, LaShawn McCoy, those guys did the bulk of the work. It seemed like Leonard Fournette was kind of coming in every third series. But when it got down to got to win it time, got to have it time, the last 2 scoring drives, Leonard Fournette was not only in there, but he gave them big runs. On the scoring drive that led to a field goal, he had a 25-yard run where he bursted out. And then the last drive to really ice the game, the 46-yard touchdown run, 12 carries, 100 yards. What we're going to see going forward, as they get down the stretch, Leonard Fournette is going to be a bigger part of the offense. Yeah. He gives them the big physical back. It enables them to play big boy football, which is critical when you're playing against some of these big teams.
Yeah, and Rhett, real quick, just going back and watching that tape, Tom Brady, I know the splits between the first half and the second half, there were some big drops. He missed a couple throws he'd like to have back, but he had, 2 for sure touchdowns that were dropped, and another one down the sideline that if Grayson catches it and can stay in bounds, he probably scores as well. So they had some drop issues there, but I thought other than that, Tom Brady from week 1 to week 2, you got to be excited about that improvement.
Yeah, and, on the defensive side of the ball, I thought they played pretty well, especially in the first half as they forced some turnovers. And I think I've talked about it on this podcast here before, but Jason Light, GM of the Bucs, has not been afraid to throw draft resources at the defensive backfield. I mean, he has drafted defensive backs, 7 of them since 2018 in the first 4 rounds of the draft. And you know what? You can look at that 2 different ways. Well, some of them aren't working out, or you just keep trying to find ones that are better, and I think it's finally starting to pay off because Antoine Winfield has been the playmaker, the ball hawk that they expected him to be. Got his first sack in this game, a strip sack, in fact, of Teddy Bridgewater. Sean Murphy-Bunting is playing really well in the slot. Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Jordan Whitehead, they're getting contributions all over the place from those young defensive backs, and it's finally starting to all come together. By the way, Justin Evans hasn't even really played yet. So I think this is a talented group that they're finally starting to see the fruits of their labor on the scouting side of things, going out there and spending all that draft capital on those DBs.
Yeah, I think it also showed that Saints defense they played against was on another level than what they saw with the Carolina Panthers. So everybody freaked out after week 1. But everybody just calm down. Tampa Bay, they're going to be okay.
All right, getting right back here to the takeaways. Takeaway number 8, the Steelers are the best at drafting wideouts.
Looks out to his left, lost one along the sideline, going for Chase Claypool, who catches it in stride. Claypool stays in bounds, crosses the 20, the 15, the 10. The rookie Chase Claypool in for his first NFL touchdown, 84 yards. Roethlisberger to Claypool.
So look, I think I really wanted the takeaway to be like, I want to be as good at something in life as the Steelers are at drafting wide receivers. I mean, you go all the way back. I mean, Plexico Burress in the first round, Santonio Holmes in the first round, but really as of late in the later rounds, second and on. These last 4 years, Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington has had his moments, and then now recently Deontay Johnson last year in the third round, and Chase Claypool. And while I'm not ready to anoint Chase Claypool here, but that 84-yard touchdown was a thing of beauty. I think we saw in week 1, he's really added another dimension to this offense. So the way the Steelers draft wide receivers, man, they kind of keep that stockpile going. We saw it back in the early part of the decade with Emmanuel Sanders and Antonio Brown and Mike Wallace. Now we have Juju and Deontay Johnson. Claypool and James Washington. That's a nice crew there, Bucky, for Ben Roethlisberger to work with.
Yeah, it is a nice crew for Ben Roethlisberger to work with, and everyone has been trying to figure out what's the secret sauce to drafting wide receivers based on the Pittsburgh Steelers' success. And one of the things that I believe they go after, they want tough guys. They go after guys that are willing to mix it up, guys that have traits that are very easy to develop, and then they put them in a situation where they're really asked to play a specific role, and those guys have thrived. So you talked about Claypool and Deontay Johnson, those guys making plays, how we saw Juju Smith emerge right away as a number 2 receiver opposite Antonio Brown. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a clear vision for what they want playing outside. And oh, by the way, it also helps to develop receivers when you have a really, really good quarterback.
Right.
Amen. I'll tell you what, that's going to lead me beautifully to the next takeaway, because another organization does a good job of identifying receivers in the draft and free agency. It's the Los Angeles Rams.
Goff fakes the handoff, rolls out to his right, sets his feet, throws back left, over the top, to the end zone, caught by Tyler Higbee. It's a 3-touchdown day for Higgs.
Yeah, this is a Rams offense. You talk about the receivers they've been able to go out and get. You get Robert Woods, who came over from the Buffalo Bills. You draft Cooper Kupp. You look at what they did drafting Van Jefferson, what he brings to the table. I mean, this is a receiving core that's outstanding, and they have a very interesting skill set because they're great route runners. They catch everything, and I think that's one of the things that helps this offense get into a rhythm. And that was my big takeaway watching this team, Buck. Changing the launch point with Jared Goff. You saw him under center, you saw him in the gun, you saw him half rolling, booting. He was in a flow early in this game, and you saw it with the completions just racking up one after another.
Yeah, I think Sean McVay has really dusted off the old playbook. They've gone back to 2017. They found a way to get Jared Goff very comfortable. You talk about the development of their skill players, particularly the wide receivers. Eric Yarber does a great job of taking guys who already have great tools in terms of being craftsmen, route runners, and he just continues to add stuff to their toolbox. These guys do a great job of creating separation in space. And DJ, when we talk about this NFC West, the NFC West is absolutely loaded, because we're not even going to talk about the team that we're pinky swearing on going, but Kyler Murray and the Cardinals joining the Rams, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Man, you better grab the popcorn, because it's going to be an exciting division to watch, especially with the Rams reemerging.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about this Rams team, and you mentioned the variety at wide receiver. Well, Sean McVay and Les Snead's ability to identify running back talent is also making a conundrum for fantasy football players out there who went and drafted Cam Akers really early and then watched Malcolm Brown go off in week 1 against the Cowboys, go pick him up on the waiver wire, only to see Darrell Henderson go off this week. So I think basically what we're saying is stay away from all Rams running backs, even though they're providing, in reality, a pretty good punch for that Rams attack.
Yeah, I'll wrap this takeaway up with this. You're talking about fantasy football. If anybody feels bad about their fantasy football lineup, I don't want to hear it. You haven't seen mine. I think my whole team has a torn ACL at this point in time. So that is
God bless,
crazy year.
Yeah.
All right, Bucky, let's keep things moving here with the final takeaway here, number 10 on the list, and you're going to go to Buffalo for this one.
Josh Allen is clutch.
Josh Allen sets up deep, takes a long look downfield, going deep again. He's got a man wide open. John Brown, he makes the catch. Touchdown! Touchdown, Buffalo!
What a play! Josh Allen, he waited for that to develop and laid that out there perfectly.
You know, DJ, when you look at Josh Allen, he is a spectacular athlete. We know about the arm talent. We've seen him become one of the more dominant running quarterbacks in the league. But this year, it's really clicked for him. 400 yards against the Miami Dolphins, 4 touchdowns. And what I really like about the Buffalo Bills and the offense, they've surrounded him with playmakers that really play to his strengths. Stephon Diggs being the #1 receiver, making plays, was targeted 13 times, had 153 yards. But John Brown averaging 20 yards a catch, so they got the vertical stretch guys. But then Cole Beasley doing in the slot. Josh Allen is as comfortable as I've seen him. And look, if he continues to play this way, we've talked about the Buffalo Bills overtaking the Patriots in the AFC East. It's going to come down to quarterback play. Right now, Bills Mafia has to feel great about their QB1.
Yeah, I'll just kind of wrap that takeaway up with this, Buck. We've used that MMA analogy, right? Being able to win a fight when it goes in a different direction. And I think Josh Allen is showing as a quarterback, it's not only just him running around kind of playing reckless and running over defenders. He's showing you he can win from inside the pocket as well, winning on time with accurate throws down the field. And that's scary because we know what he can do when things break down. When he can be as good on schedule as he is off schedule, that is a major problem for the National Football League. All right, it's time for Players Spotlight presented by Zaxby's. And Buck, when we look at the spotlight this week, looking at this big Monday night game, we got to put Josh Jacobs in that spotlight for what he can do against a very good defensive front from the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, because this is a game where I think the Las Vegas Raiders want to play keep away, meaning they want to limit the possessions that the New Orleans Saints are able to have. And the way you can do that is with the running game. Josh Jacobs is a guy that is a terrific player. He is really kind of the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to their offense. So they need to make sure he has to get it at a minimum 20 to 25 touches, any combination of runs and receptions. If he does that, then I think the Raiders are on their way to dictating the terms. And that is important because you don't want this Saints offense to have enough opportunities to really go at what I think is a defense that is not quite where the Raiders wanted to be.
Yeah, and if they can run the rock with Josh Jacobs, not only you wear down a defense, the physical nature in which he runs, but you're also going to be able to zip some of those RPO slants right behind the defense as they start to pull up on him and hopefully take some vertical shots down the field as well. So Josh Jacobs, to me, he's the key. If the Las Vegas Raiders are going to open up that new building with a win, they need a big one from Josh Jacobs. And that was our Player Spotlight presented by Zaxby's. Well, this is it's been a fun episode today. We always great to have our buddy Rhett joining us on the Takeaway podcast. I want to remind everybody you can find the Move the Sticks audio podcast, NFL.com/podcast. Find on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can find us. We're out there. You can find the videos, YouTube.com/NFL podcast. You can check that out there. NFL.com/MTS video. I mean, I can give you a million of these websites. We're everywhere. If you want Move the Sticks content, Bucky, the people can find it. But I do want to thank everybody for staying with us today. This has been a fun show as we look back at week 2, a wild week 2, and look forward to a week 3. But that's going to do it for us. This has been Move the Sticks, presented by Zaxby's.